Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to the Smashy Business Show. I am Warit Ahmed.
And I'm Abdul Majid.
And it is the 21st of January. Honestly, this has been the longest month in history.
No,
I
don't think so. For me, it passed very quickly.
Are you not taking a look at the calendar? Like, I even counted the weeks.
Yeah,
1,
longest
2, 3.
month in
It's
terms
5
of
weeks.
yeah.
It's 5 weeks.
But days passed really quickly. I don't know
Really?
where all of these 21 days went.
No,
It was
for
just
me,
like yesterday we were talking about the fireworks and then like it's 21. So yeah, for
I
me
don't-
it passed really quickly.
I don't know. I didn't think of it like that. It just, for me, it was so slow. Like so much happened all at once, and
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still like not grasping it that I'm in this new year. That right now I'm like working. I'm not in university. Like I'm just not grasping it. I'm really not grasping it. It's not going through my mind. I feel like I haven't actually had the opportunity to reflect on my life and reflect on everything. But you know what's something that I've been thinking about lately, Majid? There's yesterday, that video by Great Arab Minds.
Yeah.
With His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, and it was showing how he's such a great leader and how he's inspired the entire Arab world. Much more than that. What I found so interesting about the video, I was telling you this. It was it mentioned something about having uqda. Basically, it was describing it as having this Western insecurity. And I found it so interesting because I don't think I've ever actually heard it coined as a term, the Western insecurity. And basically what the video was saying was that what happens with a lot of Arab countries is that a lot of people in these countries, they become the second that they become educated, that they get their degrees, all of them will leave their countries. Absolutely, immediately.
For better opportunities. In their mind.
It's like they won't actually stay to rebuild. They won't stay to rebuild their own countries. They won't stay to revolutionize their own countries. And I just found it so interesting because it kind of linked to why certain countries in this region, why they're financially suffering. It's because their people leave. They leave in favor of the West. They leave because they have this Western insecurity. And you know what I kind of linked it to? It even got more interesting when I actually started thinking about it psychologically. It's like I've met so many people who I've spoken to, great people, great minds, and they're very insecure about their accents. They're very insecure about their accents because they feel that just because they don't have that English accent, that they aren't as educated. And it's like that's where you kind of think of the Western insecurity, and it's like it really makes you think about who's defining things, who's exactly. It's the West.
In Edward Said's words, he wrote a book on Occidentalism and Orientalism. I remember that book. That was the first intellectual book that was told to me by a very good teacher in university. So the idea that you're talking about, it's called brain drain. So every country faces this at some point, and usually there's the primary objective of people leaving, talented intellectual people leaving, the idea that brain drain, that a nation's brain, the intellectual people, they're draining out to other countries. It originates from them trying to get better opportunities, obviously better earning opportunities, better life opportunities, better quality of life, everything. But what I have felt, and obviously I belong to an underdeveloped country, and I've seen Asian region wholly being affected by this Western insecurity. Because when you go to any country in Asia, the schooling systems define what accent you will get. So if you go to a British curriculum school, you get a British accent. You go to an American curriculum school, you get an American accent. No one actually focuses on the point that a language is just for communication. There is no other use for language. The only use of language is communication. So if you can communicate your point, whatever accent you're talking in, the language should be only used for communication. But we fantasize this idea that if you have a British accent or an American accent or any other accent, for example, you'll get better opportunities. And To be honest,
And
there
it
was
does
a bias.
occur.
There
And
was
it
a bias.
I would not say
it was like
it still
15,
exists.
10, 15 years ago, to be honest, when I was coming out of college, going to university, I saw this bias firsthand. Even when you go for a university interview, if you don't have an accent, they'll look at you like weirdly, like, English medium school, studied English throughout his life, can't speak in an accent. So even then and even now, I think I don't have a proper like any accent. It's the Pakistani accent that I talk in. And I believe, again, communication is the main goal of language. So people need to be made aware of this fact. And with UAE, trust me, I love this idea that we have so many people and so many accents. Like even in this room, we have two people with different accents. Outside you go, you talk to Millie, she has a different accent. You talk to Cairo, he is from UK.
Everyone has a different accent.
He's from UK, but he is from Bangladesh actually, but he has a British accent. So you listen to so many accents that you actually reach to this point that yes, language is a mode of communication.
But Majid, like even, when I was growing up, I remember I was in school not so long ago. I remember that, when graduation day came, at that time, I had actually been accepted into VU Amsterdam. I was actually going to study philosophy, politics, and economics. I study accounting and finance, but I was going to study that, and I was going to go outside, and I got accepted in everything, and I got the predicted grades for it, but I didn't end up going. But the point was a lot of people got accepted into these different universities, into Amsterdam, into, Spain, into the US, into the UK. And I remember even on graduation day, because, me and my other best friend, we stayed at home. A bunch of people, for some reason during that year, chose to stay in the UAE. And it was like the highest rate. Even our what's it called? Our university advisor reported on it. She was like, this is like strange. This is the first time in like a decade of the school's history that this many people decide to actually stay here. I think that kind of signals to how education here got so much better. Yeah. But much more than that, I remember on graduation day, because a bunch of us chose to stay here, it was actually the people who chose to go to the US and the UK that got celebrated more by the teachers. And it's so interesting how this Western insecurity, it's truly embedded into everything and we don't even notice it. Like even growing up, my education, even though I would say like, my education, it's I did the IB, I did the International Baccalaureate. It's Swiss. It's really good, but Majid, we weren't taught about our own history.
Yeah.
We weren't taught about any of that much. It was more of we were always pivoting to the West, what the West was doing. And it's crazy because ever since I was actually a kid, my dream was actually to go to the States. I really wanted to go to the US.
Everyone's dream is to go to the States for the American dream.
By the way, I applied for the lottery. I did. I applied for, even if you get it, you don't have to like go immediately. Like it could stay. I applied for the lottery. My dad always makes us apply for it. But it's like that American dream, I think it goes far beyond America. And it's like, for me, when it changed though, that urge where I was like, I don't want to leave anymore. It's actually when I started working here. It's when I got my first job. It's when I first started working in Mall of the Emirates. And then I came here and it's like, I take a look at the world around me here and it's like, oh my God, like this is what we have. Obviously, like when you're a kid, maybe you'll go out with your friends, you'll go to the cinema, you'll go to the mall, but you won't actually know what's going on in the market, what's going on here. And it's like, Majid, when I started working, everything changed for me. I don't think to myself, I want to go to America anymore because it's like, we have the best. Yeah. We have the best. It's right here. Like, why would I want to move? There is no reason to that whatsoever.
In the initial point that you made that a lot of people, because of Western insecurity, leave, and they don't stay and rebuild that point. The problem is that they know even if they stay. For example, if I told you like this story that the very first doctor I saw in UAE was a Syrian guy.
Yeah.
If he took a degree and stayed in Syria, right now, even now, after like a decade of Bashar al-Assad's rule, Syria is still trying to rebuild. So right now, maybe he has an option to go back and start his whole thing there. But again, he came here because he knew that nothing can be done in his country because there is a dictator ruling the country. So when people don't see hope that is when they move out. For me, even my son was born, and I realized that moving out is a better idea than staying in Pakistan.
Wow.
Because you can stay with that hopelessness. You grow up in that environment. Like, I don't know the name of the flower which grows in like muddy waters, but it can grow there because it was the seed was put there. So I grew up in that unsafe, like a very bad environment for everything. For merit, there was no merit. All the government jobs went to the people who are in power and their kids and their families. So you grow in that environment, you grow up in that hopelessness, and you accept it. But the newer generation, when they come up and they're like, what is happening? So people usually move for these reasons, because they have zero hope from their country and the people that rule it or run it, or the business environment, to be honest. They have zero hope with anything. That is why they move. So brain drain is a very big topic in the world, and it usually happens to underdeveloped countries and sometimes developing countries as well, because they're in the mode of transition. And as soon as once they transition to become a developed economy, before that people will have to leave.
No, but
the best idea is go out, learn whatever you want, like learn the best systems that you can implement, and maybe then come back and try to rebuild your country. But moving out, to be honest, for underdeveloped nations is a great idea, because those people can actually go out, learn. I remember I did this story when I was not working here, when I was freelancing. There's a magazine, Ed Design magazine, and I did a story on one African lady, and she's Nigerian. She moved out of her country. She worked for the best people on Wall Street, and then she moved to the UK. She worked there for the best banks. She was into banking, insurances, and all that stuff. But she worked there for 15 years, and then she realized that I can use all the information that I got here about business and go back and build something in Nigeria. She started a school which is more towards arts and actual practical learning. There's no teaching in theory that this is a plant, this is a stem. In her school, they actually plant a seed and the kids see it grow throughout the time that they're in school.
Wow.
So these stories are there, but they're very minor stories, because Nigeria is like trying to get... Nigeria is the biggest economy.
No, they're not minor stories. My dad was like that too.
Like, not minor as in they're in very small numbers. That's, sorry, what I meant, that they're in very small numbers. But obviously when these things happen, they do stand out. And they lay a foundation, a blueprint for the people who actually want to go back and build something. I would love to go back and build something in Pakistan. You would obviously, if Sudan's conditions are better, you would want to go back. We have a lot of people from Philippines.
Something was already built. Something was already there.
Kirby, would you love to go back if the environment... Our producer Kirby is from Philippines. Would you love to go back if the environment is good? Yes, right? He's giving a thumbs up. See, so everyone would love to. We had an intern yesterday. He just joined yesterday. He's a Palestinian, and he lived in... he's from Lebanon. So a lot of people move to Lebanon, Egypt, all these. They would love to go back and rebuild, but there should be like 1% hope for them.
Look, Majid, like, you know, as somebody whose country right now is ongoing, you know, is in an ongoing war, you know, what I can tell you is that I would do anything to go back home.
And build something, right?
It's not even just build something. Something was already there. Something was already built. We, you know, we had a family business, and I remember it was always a running joke of between me and my sister of, Dad, who are you giving this company to? Who's going to become the CEO when you retire? No, I mean it. I seriously mean it. And I remember my dad voted me. He was like, I trust Ward more, Besma. Sorry, sister, but what's it called? I remember like we would fight over it. Like, who are you giving it to? Like, come on, it has to be me, right? No, we already started, and then our parents got extremely angry. They were like, guys, like, you know, you do this when somebody's dead. Like, come on now. Like, we're alive, we're well, we're here.
We're
but
the
it's
CEOs.
Like, no, literally. But it's like 1 week ago, like Majid, like the just the discussion of war and everything. It makes me so emotional because of the fact that I really would do everything to go back home, but not even just for, you know, our business that was completely destroyed. I would do it to, smell. There's a different scent that you smell when you're in your own home country. Even the way that the birds are chirping.
Everything is different.
You'll be in bed, you'll be laying down, you'll hear it. It's like the community there, my neighbors, everyone there. Yes, I did grow up here, but I went to Sudan a lot. I'm very closely attached to it, and because of the war that happened in Sudan. By the way, it did not just affect the people who were living in Sudan who had to flee their homes. It affected the people who are actually, all those people who left their country years ago. Because guess what? Everyone, Majid, is stuck in this loop of having to take care of somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not that anybody's even mad about it. Nobody feels resentment over it, but it's just the truth. Like, for example, I was speaking to one of my uncles, and he was telling me this. I won't reveal his name, but it made me so sad to hear this, because 1 year ago, he was doing financially really well. Like really, really well. He's an amazing guy, and he told me, he's like, Ward, like, can I tell you the truth? He went like, if I had the funds to pay for your education right now, today, I'd do it. I would do it for you immediately. He said, Ward, I'm taking care of so many people. Not just my, 3 children, not just my wife. I'm taking care of cousins, of aunts, of uncles. And this is kind of the situation that's born out of it. It's like, yes, we all experience that Western insecurity, and we left to the West. But when these wars do happen and more people leave, the people outside, because you're more privileged, you have more than them, so you must also take care of them.
That is why, trust me, UAE, 90%, nearly 90% expat population, it's a very good ground where, trust me, I was talking to a noon guy 2 days ago outside, not Friday, I was talking to him, and I just have a conversation, and he said that I have like a family of 8 in Pakistan, and they're all happy. I sent so much money. Why? Because he's still a rider here, but the conversion makes it a very big amount for Pakistan. So he's taking care of 8 people, and none of them are doing a job. It's just kids, wife, parents, and only one brother of his. He's just completed his studies, and most probably he'll move here, and then I'll get some support. So these people who are here in UAE, in Saudi, maybe some people also go to West also, but the people here, they actually support a big family there.
Yeah.
So financially, it's a very good idea to come here. But obviously, you miss the smell of your country.
Yeah, but going back to our topics for today, coming at number 1, Dubai has introduced an initiative allowing property owners on Sheikh Zayed Road, so basically the trade center to Dubai Water Canal and Al Jaddaf, to convert their land ownership to freehold status. So a total of 457 plots, 128 on Sheikh Zayed Road and 329 in Al Jaddaf, are eligible for this conversion to freehold status. And what this is going to do is that it's significantly going to enhance the investment opportunities that people can take and have.
Yeah, and it's all in alignment with Dubai Vision. Dubai's Real Estate Sector Strategy 2023, long name. So the idea is to double the sector, the real estate sector's GDP contribution to 73 billion dirhams. And they want to grow the real estate transactions by 70% and increase home ownership to 33% by 2033. It's a very nice illustration of numbers, 2033. So that is the main idea. And under this, there's like so many initiatives that are taking place. The main thing for me was that they'll go above and beyond to make every industry, not even real estate, every industry so good for investment that people are flocking in. So that's the good idea about Dubai. They don't wait. For example, they launch an initiative for 1 year or 2 years, and as soon as it goes into 6 months, they launch another initiative. They don't just sit on one initiative and be like, okay, but people are coming, putting investments in the country because of this initiative. As soon as they see it working, they'll start another initiative. So there's so many initiatives running side by side. Every day we see something being announced by Sheikh Hamdan or
just the AI seal.
Yeah,
the AI seal from yesterday.
Every day they announce something under some strategy for 2030. D33 is the main economic agenda. Under that, they have Urban Plan 2040. There's so many things going on. So that's the good thing. They don't sit on their laurels. They don't sit and say, okay, we got the record number of GDP and the record number of foreign direct investments in 2024. We have to make another record in 2025.
Listen, they don't just sit in this country, that's for sure.
Yeah, very proactive.
I think what's so interesting is that, especially with real estate, none of the real estate developers here, I think, only have plans of staying in the UAE.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I remember yesterday, me and my cousins, we were having this discussion, by the way. We were like, why did Hussein Sijwani, the founder and CEO of Damac Properties, why did he invest $20 billion into data centers in the US? It was my little cousin. She went like, it makes absolutely no sense to me. And then we started speaking about land here and, how much more can they build? Because the UAE, in the end of the day, it is it is really small. She went like Ward, like everywhere that I go, like, I saw these like Damac property buildings. It's like, where else are they going to build? Because we've seen Damac Hills too. They're still building, by the way. Yeah. They're adding more compounds. It's crazy. And then that was like my point. I truly do think that Damac Properties, it's going to expand into the U.S. We're going to see it one way or another because, the U.S., it's gigantic. It's crazy gigantic. So we're going to see...
I don't remember the name of the Abu Dhabi-based developer. If I'm wrong, I don't want to say the name so I don't get it wrong, but they're going into Australia. So a lot of them are actually going to other markets and some of them are already present in other markets. Singapore, Cyprus, all these places, they're already there. So the map going to US would be a good addition to that list. Yeah,
I do think it will occur. And for our second topic of the day, Riyadh Air, Saudi Arabia's new flagship airline, has actually postponed its launch to Q3 2025 due to delays in the delivery of the Boeing 787 Dreamliners. Now, originally slated to start operations earlier this year, the airline now expects only 4 aircrafts instead of the planned 8.
Boeing had a very big problem. It was the whole 2024 was very bad for Boeing. 2 of their planes had big accidents. One of the plane, as soon as it took off, the emergency door was like it flew off.
Oh my God!
So that happened. Yeah, and thankfully no one was hurt because they immediately landed. One of the aircrafts had mid-air problems, so it had to be landed on an emergency basis. So Boeing is going through a very bad time, that we know. Airbus is taking advantage of everything. And they're making deals. But Riyadh, they made a deal with Boeing. That was, we announced it in August, September 2024. But we didn't know by then that it was going to be Riyadh Air. So then they announced Riyadh Air, that it's a new airline. We have Flynas, we have Saudi Airlines, we have 2-3 carriers from Saudi Arabia. But Riyadh Air is going to be another one. Obviously, more competition makes flights cheaper and better and everything. So Riyadh Air, last year in December or November, we reported that they want to launch in Q1. So now because of Boeing's delay, because they have so many licenses that are being renewed, their audits are happening again in the US. They're facing so much that they're not able to make aircrafts. And if they can't make aircrafts, they can't deliver.
If audits are happening again, you know that a lot of a lot of issues are being spotted. That's for sure.
So that's the problem that is happening. That's the main story.
It is. And finally, for our biggest story of the day, Donald Trump has been officially appointed as the 47th president of the United States. But what's much more interesting is that the business ties that he has in the Middle East, that he has in the Arab region, are crazy. They're so crazy, and they actually go so deep. Like, where can we even start here? Like, what do you want to start with, Majid? There's so much to go through. There is.
The main idea is that he, at his core, is a businessman. And Middle East in the last decade has been a business hub. So he's invested, or people have gone to him and suggested ideas that you can invest here and there. You talked about the Trump Towers, that they're building the Trump Towers.
Last year, the Trump Towers, there's going to be a Trump Tower in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and it was also announced that there's going to be one in Dubai. I believe that it should be done this year, so we're definitely going to see it. And even in 2022, Dar Global actually signed a deal with the Trump organization to use the Trump brand to create a $4 billion project in Oman that includes a golf course, includes a hotel, includes villas, and not just that. Other than the data centers from Sejwani that we've seen, Trump, the only Trump branded golf course in the Middle East is actually in Damak Hills 1. And so it's so, and it even goes much deeper than that. Then you have, what's his name? You have Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, the husband of his daughter, and he actually just very recently, I believe, he received $1.5 billion from Abu Dhabi's Lunate and Qatar Investment Authority. So it's really crazy how deep it goes. But for me, what's even more interesting is honestly his ties to Saudi Arabia. We discussed it yesterday when he first became president in 2016. Trump actually, he went to Saudi Arabia, and guess what, Majid? He signed a $110 billion arms deal with them. But what's even more interesting, no, it goes deeper. It goes absolutely deeper. It's his relationship with Prince Al-Walid bin Talal. We can call Trump a businessman, but I'm sorry, he cannot even be compared to Al-Walid bin Talal. Al-Walid bin Talal, he's in another universe. I don't think anybody can reach him, but him and Trump, the relationship that they have, it's so interesting because, I actually recently found out that in 1991, when Trump was actually nearing bankruptcy, what actually happened is that he sold his 282-foot Trump yacht, Princess, to Al-Walid bin Talal. And
that is the year I was born.
That's crazy. That is so crazy, Majid. And he sold it to him for $20 million. Nice. And I watched an interview that came out, I believe, like 2 weeks ago, with Al-Walid bin Talal, and he said, I did sell my yacht to him, and I wish you could see the smugness on his face. It was just so nice to see. And even 4 years later than that, I think it was 1995, again, Trump needed money, and I believe that he sold the Plaza Hotel to Al-Walid bin Talal for $325 million. So it's so interesting how deep this goes. And even, by the way, when Trump came into power on 2016, him and Al-Walid bin Talal were having like a Twitter war. It was so interesting to see. Like, they were just going back and forth with each other. And now, if you listen to the interview with Al-Walid bin Talal, he has great things to say about Trump. Amazing things. He was like, I believe Trump, he's going to come hard and he's going to be decisive. And I quite frankly really believe in him. So it's just so interesting to see the relationship that they have with him.
Al-Walid bin Talal, his Kingdom Holding Company, has invested a lot in X, which was converted from Twitter to X, and then now XAI Kingdom Holding was participating in it. Everyone literally from Middle East, OIA, Oman Investment, QIA, they invested. Everyone invested. MGX from UAE, they invested in that. All of these people are interested in Musk and his whatever he is doing, space, AI, even Tesla, whatever they're doing, Musk is doing. I remember some guy saying that we're not it was Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, that we're not investing in the ventures, we're investing in the man. So you have to connect the dots that he's now in favor of Trump because Musk is like the right-hand man. $250 million he spent on Trump's campaign. So everyone knows that being with him means being with...
Crazy. And by the way, what you're saying came out of his mouth. I when I was watching the interview, Al-Walid bin Talal, he was like, you have to understand that Musk has sort of become Trump's right-hand man. He's right there, and it's like, everyone wants to, this was coming out of his mouth, by the way. Like, everyone wants to, have a good relationship with Musk. Everyone this is somebody that you really want to stay in touch with. He didn't say that he's doing that. He didn't say that he's doing it, but he said that everyone's doing it.
There's a general suggestion that if you want to have Trump's ear, go to Musk, or maybe Jared Kushner or whoever. But the main idea is that, Trump as a man, he's had business connections. And this has been, even when he came for the first time for 4 years, I remember the whole conversation was about the conflicts of interest. Because he's a businessman first, and then he became the president. So as a president, you don't give preferences to your business ventures. You give preference to the business of the US, the United States of America. So he's had a lot of conflict of interest in those 4 years. Now we'll have to see how he goes about it. how he circumvents the whole thing that he is the president. He can't give preference to his friends and people who he deals with in business just because he's the president of the US. He'll have to keep the US first, not his business dealings. But Trump is known to not do that. So, yeah, well, let's see. To be honest, he is a businessman at heart, and he will make sure that US gets the best deals, first of all, and then he will also make sure that he also gets the best deals. And all the people who are related, like in his best, closest circle, they also get the best deals, because he's the president for only 4 years. Maybe he will want re-election.
Yeah. So much can happen in 4 years.
Maybe if he does good, which he's promised, and there is signs that he will do good, and he gets re-elected, because I don't see anyone as charismatic, as mercurial, I don't think anyone can beat Trump on charisma right now.
And he brought back TikTok, so you know that everyone's going to be a fan now. You know,
he's got the youth vote figured out for the next election.
He got it figured 100%. Out. You know,
that will be his like slogan. We brought TikTok back, you bring Trump back. Next
Majid,
4
you know
years.
what's so interesting? Even much more than that, Al-Walid bin Talal didn't just speak about Trump and their businesses and how they're all tied. He also spoke about war. He spoke about politics. He said that between Russia and Ukraine, you need strong leadership. And frankly speaking, to do that, Trump is a strong leader. He said this quote unquote.
The peace treaty, the ceasefire agreement basically that has been signed by Israel and Palestine and Gaza right now. Everyone is saying that 95% of it is Trump, because he clearly said in a rally that all hell will break loose if the swap of prisoners and all these guys, it does not take place before my inauguration. And they actually did it. So that's the charisma I'm talking about. If he says something, as soon as he came, he signed like, I don't remember, 12 executive orders.
But he does like some drama though.
Yeah. So I don't think any president would have just done his inauguration, taken an oath, and signed 12 consecutive executive orders. One is like delaying the ban on TikTok. One is opting out of WHO. One is opting out of the climate Paris Agreement. These are the big three that I remember. So he signed 12
He is ready for work.
Yeah. And he clearly said, will Biden ever do it? And I was like, okay, this guy doesn't know how to lose. He's like, I will win. And he pardoned all the people who actually, the January 6 protests that took place where they took over the White House, broke everything. He pardoned all of them. It's nearly a
it's
list
as
of
if he's
150
saying
people.
that White House you were breaking wasn't mine. That was Biden's. So I'm
because
gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
But because I'm here now, I know you guys respect me. Yeah. But what's even more interesting is actually at his pre-inauguration dinner, there were a lot of billionaires there. Hussein Sajwani was there. He went all the way to the U.S. The Ambanis were there. Mark Zuckerberg was there. Jeff
TikTok
Bezos.
CEO.
Of course he's going to be there.
Of
course he's going to be there, He wants to keep TikTok. I don't think he wants to sell it.
Oh, he also ended work from home.
Oh, wow.
For all government employees.
Okay.
So bad news for US people, government people, no work from home. Let me see. He has...
He's banned work from home?
Yeah, for government offices. So everyone will return full-time, because I remember Elon Musk also has a problem with work from home. So he withdrew from Paris Climate Accords. He pulled out of WHO because apparently WHO, 18% of the money that goes to WHO is by US. So he's like, sorry, not spending my money on you, because he has a problem with the whole COVID thing that WHO carried out. So he didn't like it. So he's like, I'm pulling out 18% of my money. Pardoned 1,500 supporters for the January 6 attack on the US Capitol. Also signed an order declaring a national energy emergency. So now people will start drilling more for oil. You remember we talked about it when COP29 happened. You said that the superpower of the world pulling out of an agreement gives everyone a free ride to pull out. So China will pull out. Everyone will pull out of the Paris Agreement. So that happened. 75
It's microeconomics at play.
Yeah, so TikTok 75-day pause. So they have like 2.5 months to figure it out. That's a good thing.
He did, however, say that he'd like somebody else to own 50% of it.
Yeah, so the idea he gave one day before the inauguration that I will, as soon as I become president, I'll sign an executive order.
I don't believe the CEO of TikTok will agree to this.
Maybe they'll sell it to someone who they believe is like their person. I don't know. It's weird. It's going to be a very good movie to watch 2.5 months of what happens to TikTok. We thought it was the end. It was only the interval. We will see an end to it. But Trump is here. The main thing is Trump is here.
Trump is here.
And we'll see what happens.
And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. This is Smashy Business Show, a Smashy Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. You can find our newsletter on Smashy TV and make sure to follow us on all our channels. Have a lovely, lovely day.